My parents took my college fund on a Thursday night while my brother sat beside them eating garlic bread and watching basketball highlights on his phone. That detail never leaves my head for some reason. Not the screaming afterward, not my mother crying, not even the moment I realized they'd already made the decision before calling me into the kitchen. It's Tyler chewing casually while my future disappeared in front of him, like this was just another family conversation before dinner. "You're not losing anything," my dad said. "You still have options." Options. Funny word. People use it when they're about to take away the thing you actually wanted. I stood near the kitchen counter, still wearing my grocery store uniform, smelling like freezer air and stale bread, because I'd just gotten off an 8-hour shift. Tyler didn't even look up at first. ESPN highlights reflected blue across his face, while my mother folded and unfolded a napkin beside him, hard enough to tear it. Outside, rain tapped softly against the windows. Inside, I had the strange feeling my life was splitting in half, and everyone else somehow already knew it. "Westbridge called today," my mom said quietly. Tyler finally grinned then. "Housing confirmation." There it was, that proud voice, that glow people get when the family favorite succeeds at something even slightly impressive. My brother had been accepted into one of the most expensive private universities in the state 3 months earlier, and ever since then my parents had started acting like he'd been personally selected to lead humanity into a better future. Nobody mentioned his grades were average. Nobody mentioned he almost failed senior math twice. Nobody mentioned I'd spent 4 years working after school while maintaining honors classes and saving every birthday check I'd ever received. Families become very creative with memory when they decide which child matters more. I leaned against the counter slowly. "Okay," my father exhaled through his nose, already annoyed I wasn't making this easier. Tyler's financial package wasn't enough. My stomach tightened immediately. "Dad." "Claire," my mother interrupted softly, "just listen first." That sentence alone told me everything. Just listen first always means, we already chose, now please cooperate emotionally so we don't feel guilty. Tyler finally locked his phone and looked at me. "It's just temporary." I stared at him. "What is?" Silence. Tiny. Heavy. Then my father said it. "We need to use your college fund." My body actually went cold. Not metaphorically, physically, like all the heat left my chest at once. "What?" "Your brother has an opportunity here." "My money is his opportunity?" "Don't start," my father warned immediately. There it was, the tone, the one that meant my emotions were already becoming inconvenient. I laughed once softly because honestly my brain didn't know what else to do. "You're serious?" My mother reached for my hand. I stepped back before she touched me. Her face flinched slightly. "Good." "You got scholarships," she said quickly. "You can still go to state school." State school. They said it like a consolation prize, like telling someone whose house burned down that at least the garage survived. "I didn't apply to state school," I said quietly. Tyler rolled his eyes immediately. "Jesus, Claire, you're acting like we're ruining your life." I looked at him slowly. "You are." Silence dropped across the kitchen. My father stood instantly. Enough. No, I snapped before I could stop myself. No, actually. Explain this to me because I genuinely want to understand how this makes sense in your heads. My mother's eyes filled with tears already. Incredible. She cried faster than anybody I'd ever known. Honey. No, Mom. Seriously. I worked since I was 15. I skipped trips. I skipped prom weekend because I picked up extra shifts. I have literal nerve damage in my wrists from unloading stock in frozen foods for 2 years, and now suddenly Tyler needs my money because he got into a school he can't afford? Tyler crossed his arms defensively. I didn't ask you to work those jobs. You didn't have to. Claire, my dad warned again. Why does he deserve this more than me? That question hit the room like broken glass. Nobody answered immediately because there wasn't a good answer. There never had been. My mother wiped her face quickly. It's not about deserving more. Then what is it about? Silence again. Tyler looked uncomfortable now. Not guilty, just uncomfortable. Big difference. My father rubbed his forehead. Life comes easier to you. I actually blinked. What? You're stronger than your brother. There it was, the real reason. The ugly, invisible logic underneath years of favoritism. Tyler was emotional. Tyler struggled. Tyler needed support. I survived things quietly. So everybody slowly started believing survival didn't hurt me. Families do this all the time. They reward the loudest pain and ignore the quiet kind completely. So, because I handle things better, I said slowly, I deserve less. That's not what I said. It's exactly what you said. Tyler stood abruptly, now irritated the conversation had become uncomfortable enough to involve him emotionally. You always do this. I stared at him. Do what? Make everything dramatic. I almost laughed again. Tyler, you are literally taking my future. You still have a future. Not the one I worked for. He threw his hands up. Oh my God, why can't you just be happy for me for once? That sentence hit harder than everything else. Because suddenly, I understood something horrifying. Tyler genuinely believed he was the victim in this conversation. That's what happens when somebody spends their whole life emotionally protected. Any resistance feels cruel to them. My father pointed toward the table sharply. Sit down. No. His face changed instantly. Excuse me? For one strange second, I almost obeyed automatically. Childhood habits. Then something inside me snapped. Quietly. Permanently. You already decided, I said. You just want me to make you feel good about it. Nobody spoke. Even Tyler looked away. My mother started crying harder now. Please don't make this harder than it already is. That sentence nearly destroyed me because deep down, I realized she actually believed it. In her mind, my role here was emotional cooperation, graceful sacrifice, the good daughter. Families love assigning those roles early. Tyler got to be complicated. Tyler got to fail and still be adored. I got to be useful, stable, reasonable, emotional furniture. My father slid paperwork across the table toward me. Bank transfer forms, already prepared. My stomach turned. Wow. Claire. No, seriously. Wow. I picked up the papers, laughing softly in disbelief. You already filled everything out. My father's jaw tightened. We were hoping you'd understand. Understand what? My voice cracked finally. That I matter less? Silence. Horrible silence. Tyler grabbed his phone again. That detail stayed with me too. While I sat there trying not to fall apart emotionally, my brother started scrolling Instagram under the table because things got uncomfortable. I looked at him and suddenly remembered being 14 years old, helping him finish a history project at 2 in the morning because he forgot it was due. I remembered giving him gas money after he crashed his car senior year. I remembered defending him to Dad after he got suspended for fighting. And the entire time, somewhere deep down, I think I believed if I loved my family hard enough, eventually they'd choose me too. That realization hurt more than the money. You know what's funny? I said quietly. Westbridge was my dream school first. Tyler frowned. What? I just never told anybody because the second you got accepted, suddenly this entire house became about you. My mother looked genuinely shocked. Claire, why wouldn't you tell us? I stared at her. Would it have mattered? Nobody answered, and that silence told me everything I needed to know. 2 hours later, the money was gone, legally transferred. Years of savings emptied into Tyler's future while my parents thanked me like I'd volunteered. My mother hugged me, crying into my shoulder, whispering, "You're doing the right thing." I stood there, completely numb, while Tyler muttered, "I'll pay you back someday." With what money? He'd never kept a job longer than 4 months in his life. But I didn't say that out loud. Some part of me was too exhausted already. After that night, the entire house changed around me. Not dramatically, quietly. My parents became overly careful, like people walking around broken glass barefoot. Tyler avoided being alone with me too long. Nobody mentioned college anymore unless it involved him. I started picking up extra shifts just to stay away from home. Sometimes I'd sit in my car after work, scrolling through dorm pictures online, feeling this horrible combination of anger and shame, because the truth was, I still wanted them to feel bad. I wanted my parents to suddenly realize what they'd done and come fix it somehow. That's the humiliating thing about family pain. Even after people hurt you deeply, some childish part of your brain still waits for them to love you correctly. 3 weeks before Tyler left for college, my Aunt Denise hosted a family barbecue. Worst day possible. Absolutely brutal. The second we walked into her backyard, she hugged Tyler dramatically. "There's my genius college boy." Tyler grinned, immediately soaking it in like sunlight. Then she looked at me. "And Claire, still working at that grocery store?" My father answered before I could. "She's staying local for school." The embarrassment hit so fast I almost stopped breathing. Not because community college is embarrassing, it isn't, but because suddenly my entire future sounded accidental, reduced, like I simply lacked ambition instead of losing choices. Aunt Denise smiled sympathetically in that awful, fake way adults do. "Well, college isn't for everybody." Tyler laughed into his drink, not loudly, just enough. I saw red instantly. "Actually," I said calmly, Westbridge was my dream school, too. Silence. Tyler's smile vanished immediately. My mother looked horrified. Aunt Denise blinked. Then why aren't you going? Nobody spoke. My father grabbed his beer too fast. Tyler stared at the grass. And suddenly, my aunt understood everything without anyone explaining it. Her face changed instantly. Oh. That tiny little word felt incredible. Oh. Recognition. Finally, somebody seen the truth. My mother pulled me aside 15 minutes later near the garage, whispering furiously. Why would you say that? I stared at her in disbelief. Because it's true? You embarrassed your brother. I actually laughed out loud. Are you kidding me? This whole thing has been hard on him too. Hard on him? My voice cracked upward. Mom, he literally took my college fund. Lower your voice. No. Years of swallowed anger suddenly pushed upward all at once. You know what's crazy? I think if our positions were reversed, Tyler would never sacrifice his future for me. My mother looked offended immediately. That's not fair. You know I'm right. She crossed her arms tightly. You've become very bitter lately. That sentence hit me like a slap because suddenly I realized something devastating. My pain had officially become inconvenient enough for them to criticize. They took my future, and now my emotional reaction to it was the problem. Tyler left for Westbridge in August. My mother cried, loading his boxes into the car like he was going off to war instead of a campus with luxury dorms and smoothie bars. My father kept taking pictures. Tyler posted everything online immediately. New chapter, one caption said. Hundreds of likes. I stayed home claiming I had work. Really, I just couldn't stand watching everybody celebrate the life I almost had. That night, the house felt disturbingly quiet. My parents walked around like they'd lost a limb. I sat eating cereal alone while my mother stared at Tyler's empty chair. He sounded nervous on the phone, she whispered. My father smiled proudly. That means he's growing. I almost choked, laughing. Suddenly, Tyler feeling nervous was character development. Me sacrificing my future was apparently just expected behavior. 2 weeks later, I was unloading frozen vegetables at work when my phone rang 6 times in a row. Mom, 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 Dad, Mom again. My stomach dropped instantly. I answered breathlessly, expecting death. What happened? My mother was crying too hard to speak properly. Tyler left. Everything inside me froze. What? He dropped out. Silence. Freezer fans hummed loudly around me. My fingers slowly loosened around a box of frozen peas. Dropped out? He hates it there. I leaned against the metal shelf, suddenly dizzy. What do you mean he hates it there? His roommate's weird. He's overwhelmed. Classes are too hard. And there it was, the truth. Tyler finally met a world that didn't automatically orbit around him emotionally. Where is he now? I whispered. My mother cried harder. Driving home. I laughed. I couldn't help it. One sharp, ugly laugh escaped before I covered my mouth. A coworker looked over concerned. Claire? My mother whispered brokenly. Did you just laugh?
Shame flooded through me immediately. Then anger. Then something worse. Relief. Horrible, unbearable relief. Because deep down, I'd known this would happen.
Tyler came home 3 days later, looking exhausted and irritated more than devastated, like college personally offended him somehow. My father exploded almost immediately. "Do you understand what you threw away?" Tyler slammed his duffel bag down. "I was miserable." 2 weeks, Tyler. You don't get it there. Then explain it. Everybody there acts smarter than me. Silence. Real silence this time. Tyler's breathing shook slightly. I couldn't keep up. For the first time in my life, he actually sounded small, not spoiled, scared. My mother immediately softened. Honey. No, Tyler snapped suddenly. You all act like I wanted this pressure. I stared at him from the hallway. Pressure. Interesting word for somebody who never carried consequences before. My father pointed toward him furiously. Your sister gave up everything for you. Tyler looked at me finally, really looked at me, and I saw guilt hit him all at once like delayed impact. Claire. My throat tightened instantly because somehow that was the first time he'd said my name in weeks, like I was an actual person instead of collateral damage. I didn't know, he admitted quietly. Know what? How bad it really was for you. I laughed bitterly. That's because nobody cared enough to ask. My mother started crying again. Tyler looked completely shattered now. Good. Let him feel it. Let somebody besides me finally carry this weight. Then he said something that changed the entire room. Dad took money from your account before I even got accepted. Silence slammed into the house so hard I heard the refrigerator humming in the kitchen. My father went pale instantly. My stomach dropped. What? Tyler looked confused, now realizing maybe he wasn't supposed to say it. Too late. The investment account, he muttered. Dad said he'd replace it before you noticed. I slowly turned toward my father. He couldn't even look at me. And suddenly, horrifyingly, everything made sense. The rushed transfer papers, the emotional pressure, the desperation. This was never just about Tyler's tuition. They'd already been taking from me long before that kitchen conversation ever happened. My voice came out dangerously quiet. How much? My father stayed silent. How much? He finally looked up, ashamed, cornered, small. 30,000. My knees nearly gave out. $30,000 gone before Tyler even chose Westbridge. My mother looked at my father like she was seeing a stranger. Richard. He rubbed his face, shaking now. I was going to replace it. With what money? I whispered. More silence, then the final knife. The mortgage fell behind last year. The room spun. Tyler stared at him. My mother stopped crying completely. You told me everything was fine. My father looked destroyed suddenly. I was trying to keep this family together. And there it was, the truth underneath all of it. Not sacrifice, not opportunity, Desperation. My future had already been bleeding out quietly for months, while everyone kept pretending Tyler's college acceptance caused this disaster. No wonder they pressured me so hard. The money was already gone. I looked around the room at all of them standing there, drowning in secrets and guilt and years of pretending. Then I realized something strange. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the invisible one anymore. Everyone else was finally being forced to feel the damage too.